yes, white supremacy, one of the stupidest, most nonsensical of phrases you will hear nowadays, is right up there with all the other ones that have been hollowed out of all sense and meaning, like racism or women. What a time to be alive. Confession here, I've been accused of the former quite a few times, almost always by the European-esque types. I tend to get along more with the minority foreigners in the Euros a lot of the time, which seems kind of odd considering the charge, but we'll get to that one a bit later. The based foreigners in question here is myself and my buddy Zechs, a name that I cannot say without sounding like I'm pronouncing Zach in the thickest South African accent imaginable. Now obviously myself, I'm a foreigner in Europe, despite being born in South Africa and being of European heritage, not to mention living in Europe for most of my life, I still have the estranged feeling of the foreigner. I never looked at the Euros and felt a sense of kinship with them. Zechs, on the other hand, is Canadian-born, but he is some mix of Arab and Far East. He's basically a brown mutt. In his own words, by the way, before you think I'm disparaging the man. Actually, I joked with him before I wanted to say he's a liberal Arab, but I didn't want to call him a because he's actually pretty based. The dangerous hiding power level kind of base. If he ever watches this video, you're right, mate. But anyway, the last time we had a group discussion on Discord, we were talking about the immigration problem in France when it got kind of heavy. And you all know how those kind of conversations can be. But at the end of it, Zach said to me in private, look, I may have some kind of overlap with those people, but I get it. There is clearly a problem. They're not compatible with the French culture. They're ruining France. He was very honest about it. And he's not the only one that feels that way, obviously. It was around about the time where there was about 30 retired generals signing a petition to the state. Yeah, France is basically flirting with a military coup at this point. I'm sure all is well. And so I didn't see him for months because my Discord got yeeted. Thanks for that. To this day, I still don't know what I did wrong or what server was causing the problems, but anyway. And I recently ran into him again out of nowhere on another adjacent server, and we were talking again. Great days and all of that. And up came the topic about the current thing, and just the sheer level of propaganda and reflex idiocy around the situation was jarring to me. Mainly that so many people were hyper-emotive whilst knowing nothing about it. It's being treated like another political chapter, which is kind of gross. The news is becoming a sort of consumer product in a very disconnected, creepy kind of way. And when he asked my opinion, I give a more mimetic answer because I don't know or care enough about the region in all seriousness. Now, Zechs was pressed by fellow Muslim friends, and when he gave a more nuanced answer, all things considered, and for this he was branded a member of Team Z, which considering his raising, that makes no freaking sense. And I said to him, our position is more, look, this region of the world has been contentious for ages. We're over here, they're over there. I have ribs and burgers, you can fuck off. And he laughed and went, yeah, that's 100% the mood. But what we ended up discussing was why the neighboring countries don't take in any people. And I said to him, a friend of mine told me the Palestinians are not exactly liked by their neighbors, and he was saying he's had many discussions about this topic as well, and the consensus was pretty much the same. Now keep in mind, these places have electricity, they have television, and they have the internet. They see the hellish stupidity induced by taking in large quantities of people on society in Europe, and they want nothing to do with that, which is fair enough really. For example, the King of Jordan, King Abdullah II, flat out said neither Egypt nor Jordan will take in any refugees. Hard red line, which is absolutely based his people come first, which is how a king should behave. And the fact that I'm a monarchist is no way the reason why I included this bit. Not to mention, the King of Jordan might have his own reasons for his feelings, look at Black September for example. But as Zechs pointed out, the Arab world is united through language and religion, but the nuances in their identity that varies through region and sub-ethnic identity seems to be enough of a precedence for discrimination against another, which is something any sane, sensible person could understand. However, in the mindset of the white liberal, this is unthinkable. It is completely lost in translation outside of the Arabic world because, as I pointed out previously, they can only understand politics from within their tiny, narrow-minded, isolated little realm. They also have this bizarre racial harmonizing mentality for every race except their own kin, which makes no freaking sense to me. What's even stranger then is these same actors can apparently understand being surrounded by people who are of the same demographic, the same ethnicity, same place of birth, speak the same language, yet dislike, even hate them for reasons of religion or politics, yet for whatever reason seem to be unable to map that same mindset onto any other part of the world, which to me is completely insane. Not only that, these people know nothing about anything they advocate for. If you were to ask the average opinionated twat, how do the people of Lebanon feel about the Palestinians? How about the Saudis? Maybe the Egyptians or the Syrians? What are they like as a people? They would have no freaking idea, and you all know this. They ultimately don't care about any of this though, because their main use for this crisis, given that it is the current thing, is to latch their politics onto it like a parasite, hence why you get these idiotic signs. I'm just gonna be honest here, as if I'm ever anything else. Sane, rational individuals, the handful of us who still happen to exist, would look at this and think, in the name of reality and reason, you will be stripped of any capacity to wield political power because your ignorant stupidity is a dangerous threat to you and those around you. I Hotep Jesus on Twitter, shout out to him by the way, he summed this up. They got y'all emotionally invested in the Middle East, and then you wonder why they invest your taxes in the Middle East. Brilliant, bang on the money. And the last thing I want to speak on, just to end this on a spicy note, because we also happen to discuss Canada's immigration problem. Let's just say Zechs' language with regards to Trudeau's spinelessness was rather coarse, and the hordes of people that Canada are piling in are, to use V's phrase, not exactly individuals of great quality. In fact, they seem to be replicating San Francisco's problem, if you catch my drift. And he's not exactly in favor of that. In fact, even his parents, who by the sounds of it would otherwise be more sympathetic, even they are asking what the hell he is doing. He even straight up said to me he prefers none of that because the only Eurozones are more civilized. This is why I said I get along better with the foreigners. Let's just be real for a moment here, shall we? In every region, every nation, every place, you will find a small handful of people that are a cut above the rest, your natural elite. Any elite will learn from whoever benefits them the most. Very simple. There is a lot of foreigners who think of themselves as better than their own kin, in some ways kind of isolated for this perspective, and so they will gravitate towards those they feel are their equals or betters. Liberals, who because of their stupid politics are obsessed with race and equality, do not understand this at all. The elite foreigners can't stand them because they're advocating for bringing in more of the very people they work so hard to get the hell away from. They prefer the companies of the Euros, and they get really pissed off when they see the Euros acting like guilt-ridden cowards and allowing their lands go to hell, seeing as they came over because the Euro-dominated lands are better. Never in a million years will any liberal even think to utter any of this. The only ones that will say this are the outsiders because they can be more honest about it. And this is why we all appreciate the base foreigners. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.